Hi, it's Chaplain TJ with Tidal Health Nanticoke and the Chaplain Services here. Thanks for letting me take 15 with you. I have shared with you before from a book called Emergency Laughter by Mike Cyra. I think it's how you say his name, C-Y-R-A. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about Mike real quick. Author Mike Cyra spent 20 years working in emergency medical services and surgery as an emergency medical technician, a chief medical officer on a ship sailing Alaska's violent Bering Sea, a surgical technologist, and an instructor of maritime emergency medicine and basic life support. That was actually from like 8 years ago, so he's got almost 30 years into the business. So you can kind of respect where he's coming from. Now, talking about this book, Emergency Laughter, where he tells stories from the back of the ambulance and the emergency department and things like that. This guy named Peter read his book, and here was the review that he posted on, I can't remember the website he put it on. Anyway, he says, Emergency Laughter is a slightly odd, and in parentheses, and I suspect slightly exaggerated, this guy's never worked emergency services before, a collection of stories from the author's experiences in EMT that's own swings between morbid humor, outright stupidity, and some glimpses of compassion. This guy that reviewed Mike's book goes on to say, sensitive readers might also be a little offended or upset by parts of it because the author doesn't hold back in some of his language and opinions. Again, like I said, obviously never worked in a hospital or the medical field. Now, here's the story I wanted to share with you from Mike Cyra's book, Emergency Laughter. It's called My Little Ipecac Girl. He says, anytime I received a call about a child in distress, I always drove my ambulance a little bit faster than any other emergency call I responded to. This 911 call was reported to us as a 4-year-old female, possible overdose. My ambulance, another aid unit, and a fire engine were dispatched to the scene. When we arrived, the typical mother, in tears and urging us to hurry, please, greeted us at the door. As instructed, we hurried into the living room to find a small, blonde-headed girl with a worried, I can tell I've done something wrong, but I don't know what it is yet, look on her cute little face. All she knew was that suddenly 7 very large, very strange men carrying all sorts of equipment were rushing towards her. She did the best offense-defense maneuver ever devised. She burst out crying. I could just imagine how scared she must have been. My initial assessment was that she was in no immediate distress. She was crying loudly, so her airway was intact. She probably had good oxygen saturation. She was standing with her arms outstretched to her mother, who was right on our heels. She had a steady gait. The little girl, that is, her mom's gait wasn't doing so good, so I knew her neuromotor functions were okay. Her skin was warm and dry, and she had good color. Her eyes were wide open, following everyone around, and I could see that her pupils were the same size and not pinpoints. She also had a good, strong, steady pulse. For parents and students who are reading this, that initial assessment took all of 6 seconds to perform. He goes on to write, after performing a physical exam, getting a blood pressure, taking the history of what happened, we spent some time gently talking to our little patient and reassuring her mother. This made both of them relax, and the girl started warming up to us. Soon she was smiling, laughing, and really enjoying all the unexpected attention. I could tell she was relieved that she wasn't going to get her butt spanked after being so certain that she had done something terribly wrong. It was obvious she thought this was turning out just fine. Little did she know what we had in store for her. If she had, she would have taken off like a rabbit. The story we got from her mother was that she found her little girl in the bathroom, up on the sink, and the medicine cabinet open, and an empty bottle of adult-strength codeine cough syrup in her tiny hand. Red sticky syrup was all over her face. The mother was certain that the bottle was nearly full since she got it 2 years ago. Mike takes off with a side note here. Just a reminder to everyone, especially if you have children, if you're no longer using medication, throw the stuff away or give it to your drug addict brother-in-law, but get it away from children, please. He goes back to the story. I explained to Mom that we had to induce vomiting, but we would be right there and everything would be okay. I found a large plastic trash bag, tore a hole in it, put it around the girl's neck. This was great fun for her, and she stood there smiling like it was Christmas. She just knew she was going to get some type of present. Sure enough, we were going to give her one that she wouldn't forget. We got out our bottle of Ipecac and convinced her it was something very good by having 2 firemen pretend to drink some. She happily drank the appropriate dose for us. We immediately looked at our watches, knowing that at any moment she would not be smiling and she certainly would not like us anymore. Right on schedule, the Ipecac began to do its job. 1 minute she was standing there with the most beautiful smile on her face, and then instantly it vanished. Her eyes grew to twice their size. She looked at her former friends as if to say, "What's this? Something is going on in my tummy." She even touched her stomach with both hands and looked down at her tummy. Her bulging eyes gazed up at us with absolute confusion as a little gurgle and burp escaped her lips. I will never forget the look she gave us next. It was something to the effect of, "You aren't nice men, you're bad men. You gave me something bad." It was a look of total betrayal. If her transformation hadn't been so funny, I might have been hurt. She gurgled again. The 7 brave medical men started moving backwards. We had been using the technique of getting down to eye level with the child to make her feel more comfortable. This was about to backfire on us. The girl took a deep breath, her eyes now 2 huge circles of white. One of the EMTs behind me yelled, "She's gonna blow." Instantly, and with more force than the space shuttle lifting off, she exploded in vomit. She did not aim for the hefty bag, but vomited an incredible amount of fluid directly at us. The 7 brave men reacted instantly, half of them falling over each other running for cover, and the others frantically reaching for the hefty bag in a vain attempt to catch or deflect as much vomit as possible. The spewing little girl's stomach contents rained down upon everything and everybody in sight. I was unaware that so much vomit could come from so small a person. After seeing so many amusing things, her face turning from happy little girl to "you are bad men," witnessing 7 grown men run like panic-stricken turkeys, and seeing a tiny little girl spray vomit like a broken water main, we all caught a bad case of the giggles. We giggled so hard we took turns going outside to get control of ourselves, but one look at that empty trash bag and a little head poking through it and a living room splattered with puke, I had to go back outside. My little Ipecac girl stood there in the middle of her destruction with a satisfied grin on her face and said, "I'm done now. I feel better." We transported mother and daughter to the hospital for observation. I had looked death in the face, and it puked all over me. But I had lived to tell about it. I just wanted to share that with you. I thought it was the greatest story. I don't know about you, but I'm guessing that if you're anything like me, you are so sick and tired of this whole coronavirus thing. The things that you have had to do, that you've had to put up with. And here we are getting back into the flu season again, and you know everything's just kicking back up again, and it's going to cause you to go back into what you do best under the worst circumstances. And for that, we're sincerely sorry. But have you heard the phrase, "Perhaps you were made for a time such as this"? That actually comes from the book of Esther in the Bible. Esther was someone who had married into a royal family, but she came from, well, not a royal family, but she was a royal family now. And because of what she knew and who she knew and what she did, because she stepped up and spoke up when she was needed the most, she actually saved her people from destruction. Her entire race was going to be killed off if she didn't say something. She did. And she was told by a very wise man in the story. Look it up, Esther. It's in the Bible. She was told by a very wise man, "Perhaps you were created for such a time as this." As difficult as it is, thank you so much for everything that you're doing to take care of your patients and each other here in the hospital. Nobody else can do exactly what you do. Your skill set is so unique, and your passions are so you, that you are making this possible for the rest of us. Thank you so much. And when you get tired and you get frustrated and you're just ready to wring your hands and walk away from it, just remember, there was a plan for your life even before you were created. And perhaps you were created for just such a time as this. Can I pray with you real quick? Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful person who is stepping up and saving those that are coming with a need for help. Please, Father, supply strength and peace and patience and courage. And Father, provide rest when it's needed the most. Thank you so much for what you are doing through this individual that you created with a purpose and a plan for just such a time as this. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, amen. All right, there's one more story I want to share with you. I promise I will make it quick and I'll let you go because we only get to take 15 here. You may have heard about this. This man had a weird thing going on. So he went to his doctor, went to his primary care physician, and he explained to his doctor, he said, I'm not sure what it is, but whenever I pass gas, it sounds weird. And his doctor said, I'm sorry, what? And the guy says, I know it sounds weird. Whenever I pass gas, it sounds weird. So his doctor says, well, what does it sound like? And the patient says, Doc, honest to goodness, when I pass gas, and it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't matter what I ate that's caused the gas, but whenever I pass gas, it, instead of sounding like what you would expect it to sound like, it sounds more like Honda. And the doctor says, tell me again what you think it sounds like. The guy says, I mean, you and I know what passing gas should sound like. That's not what it sounds like. It sounds like Honda. Doctor says, okay, don't worry about it. It's okay. This is more common than you may think. Here's what I need you to do. When you leave here, I need you to go directly to the grocery store, and I need you to get the groceries that you need so that when you get home, you can make the most magnificent dinner you can for your wife. Okay? Listen to me here. Clean up the house, tidy things up when you're done making dinner, clean the kitchen, put everything where it belongs. Set out candles, put some nice music on, and serve your wife the most magnificent dinner she has ever had. Guys, then, listen to me, then continue to romance her through the evening. Listen to me, romance her, seduce her, make her feel like the most wonderful woman in the world, and then make mad, passionate love to her that night. Okay? That is what I'm telling you to do. And the guy says, Doc, I will. If this is what you're telling me I need to do to fix this problem, I most happily will. I mean, that's not a bad prescription at all, but you have to explain to me what you just described to me. How does that have anything to do with my problem? He said, I know you're not educated in the medical field like I am, so I'm simply sharing with you the knowledge and the wisdom that abstinence makes the fart go Honda. You never thought a chaplain would tell that joke, did you? Here's the point of that story. It is true that the chaplains are in the hospital for the patients and their families. We're also in the hospital for you, and we miss terribly being with you. It's one thing to talk to you on the telephone, but it's a whole nother thing to be able to talk to you in person and just say, hi, how are you doing? And I personally am hoping that perhaps our absence has kind of helped drive home the point that, you know what? I know these guys are here for me. I know that whatever I say to them stays between us, and that I can get things off my chest. I can talk myself through some difficult times, and I can get some laughter and some cheer, and I can get some prayer. So, before you passing gas sounds like Honda, we want you to know that we miss you desperately. We enjoy spending time with you. And that until things change, if there's anything that you need from the chaplain department at Tidal Health Nanticoke, all you have to do is call the operator. There is always a chaplain on duty, even when we can't come into the building. Let them know that you'd like to talk to a chaplain. They'll notify us. We'll call you. We really do miss you. and we really want to see you again before it sounds strange when you pass gas. Have a great day. God bless.